ESPN 91.1 FM, Skidmore College Radio. And today we are here with Mark Lombardo out of Albany, New York, of the band Titanics. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure, Alex. Nice to meet you, man.
So I've got a question about the name of the band. Well, is there a hidden meaning or a reason why you named your band named your band after a ship that wasn't really known for reaching its destination?
Well, I guess people, not to immediately compare it to Led Zeppelin, but I know what you mean. It's kind of like naming your band after a famous tragedy. But when our band started, it was just me doing a lot of acoustic like folk music, and I love the name Titanics because it shows like a huge kind of grandiose luxury ship, and at the time it was just like this one-man folk project, so I like the kind of dichotomy between the huge ship and the ship, and the acoustic guitar. I've also loved the ocean themes. You see that a lot in our band. We use like a lot of water imagery, with like diamonds or like royalty, or like luxury, and it seemed like a very lush name to describe our music.
So you don't plan on sinking anytime soon, right?
Hopefully not, man. It's hard to say. You know, you kind of take it day by day, but not soon enough. You know?
Now, you said you started off as a folk group or a folk solo project originally. How did you go from that into Chillwave?
Well, I was away. I was living in Oneonta, New York, in the mountains. I was going to school at the time, and I was just doing an acoustic project, which that's how Titanics came about. That's when I first started releasing music as Titanics. And then I came home, and Derek was home, and I've been playing music with Derek for about 10 years. He's a great friend of mine and an excellent guitar player. We've been in bands in the past. And it wasn't until I kind of injured my wrist playing guitar that I started playing keyboards to kind of create this like dreamy aspect of my music that I was like starting to get into. And then I just asked Eric to play guitar on it, and it came out really great. So we just like, why don't we just do this as a duo now, you know? And that was a big change because I kind of put down the guitar, started doing a little more synthesizer stuff and more dreamy stuff.
So in a way, it was kind of through a tragedy that your band came together.
Yeah, you know what? You're kind of right. The more I think about it, because I originally played bass, you know. So when I was playing acoustic guitar, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I wanted these really rich chords that would soon become the Titanics you know now. So I was like using my thumb and using my fingers in a weird way that I eventually just injured my wrist. And I was like, all right, well, I can't really play guitar, so I guess I'll start using this old keyboard that I have in the corner. And I actually ended up liking it just as much, if not more. It was kind of a new sound for me.
Now, in a lot of bands nowadays, there does seem to be this resurgence of synthesizers and other, I guess, synthesized music. Strange way to phrase that. But is there something that you think synthesizers offer that real instruments can't provide as easily, maybe?
I mean, I can only speak for myself, really, and because we get asked about the trends a lot, and it's hard for me to explain it, but I think for me personally, I've always been seeking a style of music that was very rich and kind of like really all-encompassing, and I was doing it with full band back with Derek when we were kind of in more progressive style stuff, and I was doing it with folk music, but it wasn't until I really started using a microchord and string pads and things like that I immediately got the feeling that the music was like this deeper but very transient experience that I think I've been seeking to do my whole life. So the synthesizer had all those voices like within it, and it was open to experimentation a lot too. So I was really into that. It was kind of a big creative process at the thing, and once I figured it out, I'm still learning about it now. So I find that very interesting.
Now, in the realm of synthesized music, I guess, where exactly does Chillwave stand out? What exactly does it excel in or make its name known for?
Well, I mean, I think the classic Chillwave has a lot to do with sampling music and a lot to do with electronics and laptops and that sort of deal. But the ironic part was our first album, Soft Treasure, was made pretty much in a shed on my parents' property with no laptop and no samples or anything like that. It was just me with a bunch of old keyboards and an 8-track digital recorder. So I think it was easy for people to associate us with Chillwave music because of the popularity of the genre at the time. But for me, I've never really seen it as Chillwave. I've always seen it as more as just ambient music, or at least the first album. It's very, very ambient. And it was something that I was trying to create a very lush feeling. Now, with our new album, Deeper, I think we use the computer a little bit more. Clearly just for experimentation purpose, you know, because I'd like to mess around with my voice a little bit more. But we're still not very sample-based, which I think is very key for chillwave music. So I do listen to chillwave. That was the beer bottles.
So you would classify yourself as ambient, though?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I think to me, because we've been called chillwave and synth pop, and I mean it is pop music, but to me, I think Titanics is still kind of like a big glorified ambient project. To me, yeah, it's something that we're trying to create music that could be longer, and we have a lot of interludes on our album, which could be considered just straight ambient music.
So as a project, you guys still have some tweaking to do here and there?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think we're always learning. I think the beauty of it is the fact that I've never really been in a band like this before, and it's kind of unconventional in the sense that we don't have a drummer. We use a lot of different types of keyboards. I have like 2 different things or 3 different things, all these pedals that I've been using. And while I'm writing, I'm also experimenting with the sound. I'm also learning about the equipment as well. And I know that with Derek, I mean, he's got a bunch of guitar pedals that he's never messed with before. And we're not the kind of band that we want to use a lot of equipment. We like to simplify things, but we're still kind of chasing a sound that I think is new and fresh. So it's still really exciting for me, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
So now, is there like a typical writing process for you guys beforehand, and then you guys get together and start working on something, or is it very much kind of that jam feel? You get together and then you start bouncing ideas off each other live while you're practicing?
Some of the songs have come out of things that we've done live, but I'd say the majority of it starts with an idea that I have. That a lot of it is I can kind of hear it in my head, and I'll start making something, whether it be on the synthesizer or on the computer, and then I'll bring it to Derek. And we're I try to be a very melodic based band. You know, with a lot of ambient music, I think it's very it can be very droning and doesn't really have the true melody. But I think one thing about our band is we've always fallen in love with really strong melodies, you know. So it'll start with me and a drum machine, a beat, and I'll kind of just have these moving chords, and Derek will throw in some kind of guitar part that moves pretty well. But it's usually pretty collaborative, so it's a very interesting process for sure.
Now, actually, how did you and Derek meet? You said you were both in bands in the past, and you've known each other for about a decade.
Yeah, I really liked a girl that lived on Derek Street back in like 7th grade, I think. I was probably like 14 years old. And she found out that I liked her, and she was really good friends with Derek, and she told Derek to tell me to stop talking to her. And he did that, and then he realized that I was a musician, and then we actually became really good friends. And I don't know whatever happened to the girl, but me and Derek are now really good friends, and we've been jamming for about 10 years ever since in various projects.
So could this go back to our theme about tragedies forming the band then?
You know, that may be. The lead singer of Titanics never got the girl, but he did solidify an excellent guitar player and musical partner.
Now, you guys just released a brand new EP, correct?
Correct.
And it's Deeper, I think, right?
Deeper, yeah, that's right.
So what can you tell us about it so far?
Well, we chose the name Deeper because I think it kind of symbolizes what it means to our band. I think it's something that it's still very much Titanics, but I think there are elements of it that go deeper, not to use the word in a repetitive way, but deeper and just more in-depth to what we do as musicians. Because, I mean, originally I'm a bass player, and there's a lot of live bass on this album as well. A little bit more production experimentation. We use a lot of pitching the vocals, you know, and chopping up guitar parts and stuff. No samples from external sources, but all us recording something and kind of chopping up more. And I think it shows another element of our band, the sense of songwriting as well, because I think our first album was very, very ambient, and there were traces of pop, but I think the next one is even more pop and has more full songs on it.
Have you had a response yet? Or this was just released this past week, I think, right? So.
Yeah, it was just released on Tuesday, and today's Saturday night, so it's been out for a little bit less than a week. Yeah, people seem to really, really like it, and that makes me really proud because I produced and mastered the whole thing myself, just right in my bedroom. You know, we don't have a label, we don't do management, we don't have anybody really helping us record or anything like that. It's all just us and our own projects. So it's really exciting to have it out there for me because you don't really know how it's translated until it's live. I mean, I know how I feel about the music, and I'm really happy with it. And for me, the music is just what we are. You know, I don't really strive to make it something too over the top or anything like that. I just want to have it be an accurate representation of what I think our band is and where we are. And it's really cool to hear people positively responding to it. And everybody kind of likes a different song too, which I think is important, or at least interesting. You know, it's not like everyone likes one song and then it doesn't really resonate with the rest of them. Everyone has a different response with their favorite song is, and I like that a lot.
Now, this very DIY method you guys have, I guess, taken the band with.
Yeah.
Whether from your shed or your room, do you think that's contributed to the characteristic sound of your band?
I would definitely say so, because I think a lot of it has to do with talking strictly from a production perspective. Absolutely. I mean, the only person that's really taught me how to produce music is my older brother, who's been doing music his whole life, just kind of as a hobby, and he's a genius, and he's taught me a lot about that stuff. And also, there's nobody really badgering us to go one specific way or to conform to one certain genre. You know, that's why it's been funny for us to be labeled as chill wave or synth pop or anything like that, because to us, it's just me and Derek in a bedroom just making music. You know, we don't really think much about how we create music. I mean, I know that I'm in many ways consciously and subconsciously influenced by things that I listen to, which is like I love Dirty Vegas, which is like a great artist of mine that I love. I love Alpha, love like trip hop music and ambient music and just like your basic pop stuff. But the music kind of forms itself in many ways, and I like it because I think it is kind of a different perspective on what people would consider chill wave or ambient or something like that.
So in the future, would you even consider having, I guess, a label, a producer, a masterer, or are you most comfortable doing this all on your own?
Well, I think the goal initially in the early days, and I would still kind of consider this the early days of our band, is for me to kind of wrap my head around all the aspects of it myself first, and to understand how production works, and to understand how the distribution of the album works and things like that, and for me to go deeper into, you know, the songwriting realm and the subconscious to find the best songs before we start adding a bunch of people to our team. You know, this has always been our vision and our project, and the fact that it's been so embraced by radio and so embraced by magazines, like both nationally and internationally, is quite exciting. But I think for me, it's like kind of a process of just always stripping down those things and kind of simplify to this, you know, the bare elements of like what is a good song and how do I feel about the situation and how can this song reflect what I want to do. So I think if the right label does come around, and I think that they will, I'm absolutely down to work with them. But I think I'd have to be very aware of what's going on and know them on a very intimate and like personal level as well.
What would you say is the biggest challenge doing everything yourself?
With our band, a lot of the time, the biggest challenge is figuring out how we're going to do things live, because we're a two-man project and we don't have a drummer. And people are really quick to be like, oh, grab a drummer and just do this. You know, I know a drummer that can help you out. But it's not that, you know, they're not good or anything like that, but it's an element of we like being a duo and we like doing it ourselves, and the whole thing has been a challenge to just take music that we hear and just present it in a live way that people can also dance to but relate to in the same sense. Besides that, it's been just like a self-fulfilling sort of thing, you know, just keep like trying to find inspiration, things like that.
Now, speaking of being picked up by international, national radio, earlier you said, and I also read, that you were on, what was it, the Mercedes-Benz brand new talent mixtape?
Yeah.
What exactly was that?
It was a download playlist that Mercedes-Benz released on like their like indie part of their website, where they kind of search like for pop music or just like popular music internationally, and they picked our song "Low Frames" to be on it, and we were actually the first track on that as well. And what they do is they release us a free download to people all over the world, to all their followers, and then they also create, I believe, physical CDs. So for somebody of that month, if they buy Mercedes-Benz, they'll get a nice sample CD and be like, oh, try this out with your car. And our track was on there. And the ironic part is actually my father sells Mercedes-Benz in Albany, and he did not know anything about this. And when I told him that my song was on that, he was like, oh, really? That's really interesting. And then he ended up hearing a lot more about it. So it was quite funny, because my dad, you know, he sells Mercedes-Benz, and here they are, like, talking to us, and I was like, Dad, do you know anything about this? And he's like, oh, no, I don't think I do. But it's helped our band a lot. It got us onto a lot of playlists. With like apps and stuff like Songza and like 8-track websites and things like that. So a lot of plays on Spotify. It was a really cool experience.
Did you notice any, I guess, financial gains from that at all?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was really cool. We got a lot of plays from Spotify, Which in turn, I mean, in today, I mean, everything is so quick nowadays that if you have one song that takes off, people hear about your band. Yeah, we got like show offers and stuff like that, and people wanting to manage our band and stuff. But, you know, it was great. A lot of plays was really significant.
So you're telling me at one point, though, someone buying a brand new Mercedes, the first thing they could have heard in that car
is Low
Titanics.
Frames by Titanics. That's correct. Yeah, that seems like a commercial in itself. That's a pretty glorious moment. You know? That'd be great for me. You know? I'd love to have that moment.
All right, and I guess pretty much wraps up all my questions. Is there anything else you would like to add that you think we missed?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to thank all the support that we got. Thank you, Alex, for the interview. And I think it's really cool. I mean, I think right now we're still, like I said, the early phases of our band, and I think we have a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to experiment. You know, and I think it's something that we just do it because we truly love to do it, and I love the music that we make, and I love the way that it makes me feel, and I love the way that, you know, other people perceive the music, whether they love it or they don't like it. You know, I think it's an interesting thing, and you know, I'm always experimenting in different art forms too, with writing and music. And it's a way for me to translate what I believe in a subconscious musical way, and it feels really good. So that's about it.
And where can people buy your latest work or just get in touch?
Right now, it's just available on Bandcamp. It's just titanics.bandcamp.com, and within the next couple of weeks, it should be available physical copies, Amazon, and it should be on Spotify as well, SoundCloud.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Alex. An absolute pleasure.
You have been listening to Recess with Spinelli, WSPN, Skidmore College Radio, and we've been speaking with Mark Lombardo of Titanics, Albany, New York.